Hi there. So today it is actually October 2nd, and I wanted to pop on here quickly and let you guys know of this awesome impatient. It's breeded just a couple years ago, I believe in 2020, and it is called a beacon impatient. And I planted some of these in my yard this year, and kind of the story behind that is I have a ton of shade in my garden, and I love planting annuals because they bring lots of color all season long. But it's hard to find annuals that bloom in the shade. Well, impatiens are one of those awesome annuals that will bloom in the shade and give you great color. However, along with impatiens, they also come with something called downy mildew. And what that is eventually, I don't know, I would say probably for me, like early summer, midsummer, they start to kind of drop all their leaves. They get a disease called downy mildew. They start to drop all their leaves, and they basically just become kind of sick looking with just like the stalks. So they drop leaves, they obviously don't bloom, and I planted impatiens probably like 3 or 4 years in a row, and this is just what they do every year. I keep going back to them because, like I said, there's not a lot of things that bloom in like full shade. So I've kind of just planted them anyway in hopes that one of these days they would just perform well, but they never do. So this season, I was actually in my local garden center, and I seen the impatient table, and I walked up to it, and there was this tag on there, and it said beacon impatiens, and I was like, oh, is that like just another variety, or what is that? So anyway, I didn't think about it. I left. I didn't get any because I've about had it with impatiens. And so I asked my brother-in-law, who is a grower at a different local garden center, and he's like, oh, beacon impatiens, yeah, those are a new breed of impatiens, and they are supposed to not get downy mildew. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went back to the garden center and I picked some up, and I planted them, and they are amazing. They in fact have not had any downy mildew. This is the first time that my impatiens have survived May through today. Like, it's October 2nd, and that's kind of why I wanted to come on here, because I live in Michigan, and at any second our weather could turn on us and we could get a frost. So I've really wanted to come on here and show you that, you know, if you have issues with impatiens, if you have issues with planting things in the shade, try beacon impatiens. They are amazing. They grow about 14 to 18 inches tall and wide. They stay in a really nice round clumpy mound, and tons of color all year long. They didn't drop any leaves. The leaves are completely green. I didn't fertilize them once. I think I watered them once when I planted them. I watered them in, and then they do get some like overhead sprinkling, but they're covered by like huge canopy like walnut and cherry trees, so they don't even get a lot of like rainwater. So just very low maintenance, and like I said, the best part, they do not get the downy mildew. So I want to take you along before our weather changes here in October, and show you how great these impatiens are. Okay, so I'm just walking down my hill right now, and I'm already getting excited because I know what I'm about to see. And it is just these beautiful clumps of impatiens. So that is a clump, and then that is not. That is big begonia, which is also another highly recommended plant. They're obviously huge begonias, and they perform really well in the shade as well. But anyway, not the point of this movie. We are going to go take a look at these little clumps, and I'll talk about them for a second, and then I'll show you down here where I have some more here. So I'm going to go stand in there and show you. I've got a Weigelia bush, a little Halcyon Hassa, and some Astobi over there, but you can kind of see how big they are. But let me go in there and just show you how big they are in comparison to me. I'm about 5'3". This clump is 3 plants, this clump is 2 plants, and I think I planted these in at kind of the end of May. Like I said, it's October 2nd, and they still look this good. So I'm really happy with these. These probably this is on the east side of my house, and I've got tons of canopy trees over here. So this little section right here probably only gets about maybe 2 to 3 hours of sun every day. So that is another thing too, they can handle a little bit more sun. I did plant these in another section down there where it gets 0 sun and they didn't get as big. So I think it is helpful for them to get just like a little bit of sun here. Okie dokie. So that's where those little clumps are. Wish I would have planted more, but it's okay. It's just a test here. And now I've got more clumps down here. Look at how pretty those are, and they have been blooming like that all season long. So I went ahead and bought a full flat of these. It was $32 in a flat, and which is also another great thing because some garden centers only sell plants in potted trays, and you're gonna pay a little bit more for those, maybe like $2 to $3 a plant. So if you could get these in a flat of 32 or more, then it's just a great bang for your buck. So I just bought one flat. And what happened was I planted all of them right here in this section. Well, about, I don't know, a couple weeks into them being planted here, I noticed how vigorous they were growing and how they were just taking up this entire space, and it was kind of too much. So I planted them, 8 to 10 inches apart, like the tag said, but still they were just taking up too much space. So I actually transplanted some of them, and that's where I have the other clumps around, the clumps that I just showed you. I took 5 plants up there where we planted a clump of 3 and then a clump of 2, and then I also planted some more here and there just to see how they would do. So I only ended up with about, 15 plants in this section right here, and this is a really big section. Let's go ahead and get in here and I'll show you how big one of these plants actually gets. Okay, so as you can see, this is my hand right here, and I'm just gonna go in here and pull back and find out where all the stalks are coming from, so we can see each individual plant. But this huge one right here, that's just one plant, like that right there, okay? And then, let's see this one, I don't know if you can see, there we go, right here. This huge one right here is just one plant. Like I said, they have had this much color all season long, 0 downy mildew. I haven't sprayed them, I haven't watered them, I haven't fertilized them, nothing. And I would highly recommend this amazing Beacon Impatiens plant. Here's a view from down here. Some of my hostas I need to go in there and clean up, but you can see that they've really done well this year. I'll definitely be planting these next year. This section over here, like I said, I pulled from there when they were getting too big, and I kind of placed individual plants in throughout here. Now these sections don't get any sun, 0 sun. So I would recommend, if you have an area that gets around like 2 to 3 to 4 hours of sun, they will perform like this. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching, and I just wanted to get on here and show you how great these Beacon Impatiens are, and I'm really excited. I wish I would have planted more, but like I said, it was just an experimental year for me with these. I didn't want to spend too much money on the plants if it wasn't going to work. I was a little unsure. I didn't know if it was a hoax or not, but it's not a hoax. These plants are amazing, and I think I'm going to try out some violet colored ones next year, maybe some pink and pinks and purples, and try out these plants definitely in other spots in my garden. So alright, good luck, and if you have any issues with impatiens, getting downy mildew, or not blooming for you, try the Beacons. You will not be disappointed. These are an amazing plant. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.